We were the only family with children in the restaurant that Christmas Eve. I sat Eric in his high chair and noticed everyone was quietly eating and talking. Suddenly, Eric squealed with glee and said, "Hi there." He pounded his fat little fists on his high chair tray. His eyes were crinkled in laughter and his mouth bared his toothless grin as he wiggled and giggled in merriment. I looked around and saw the source of his merriment. It was a man whose pants were baggy with a zipper at half-mast. His toes were peeking out of his would-be shoes, and his shirt was dirty. His hair was uncombed and unwashed. His whiskers were too short to be called a beard, and we were too far from him to smell, but I'm sure he did. His hands waved and flapped in loose wrists like this. "Hi there, baby." "I see you, Buster," the old man said to Eric. My husband and I exchanged looks. What do we do? Eric continued to laugh and answer, "Hi there. Hi there." Everyone in the restaurant noticed and looked at us and then at the man. The old geezer was creating quite a nuisance with my little baby. Our meal came and the man began to shout from across the way, "Do you patty cake? Do you know peekaboo? Hey, look, he knows peekaboo," he said loudly. Nobody thought the old man was cute. He was obviously drunk. My husband and I were so embarrassed. We ate in silence, all except for Eric, who was running through his repertoire for the admiring Skid Row bum, who in turn reciprocated with his loud, cute comments. We finally got through the meal and headed for the door. My husband went to pay and told me to meet him in the parking lot. The old man sat squarely between us, me and the door. "Lord, just help me out of here before he speaks to me or Eric," I prayed quietly. As I drew closer to the man, I turned my back to sidestep him and to avoid any air he might be breathing. As I did, Eric leaned over my arm, reaching with both arms in a baby's pick-me-up position. And before I could stop him, he propelled himself from my arms into the man's. Eric, in an act of total trust, love, and submission, laid his tiny head upon the man's ragged shoulders. The man's eyes closed, and I saw tears hover beneath his lashes. His aged hands, full of grime, pain, and hard labor, cuddled my baby's bottom and stroked his back. No two beings have ever loved so deeply in so short of time. The old man rocked and cuddled Eric in his arms. Then his eyes opened and sat squarely on me. He said in a firm, commanding voice, "You take care of your baby." Somehow I managed to say, "I will," from a throat that contained a rock. He pried Eric from his chest unwillingly, lovingly, as though he were in pain. I received my baby back, and the man said, "God bless you, ma'am. You have given me my Christmas gift. You see, ma'am, I never saw my child grow up. My wife and son were taken from me in an automobile accident when they were both very young. I was never able to get over it." I said nothing more than a muttered, "Thank you. I'm sorry to hear that." And with Eric in my arms, I ran for the car. My husband was wondering why I was crying and holding Eric so tightly and saying, my God, please forgive me." I had just witnessed Christ's love shone through the eyes of a tiny child who saw no sin, who made no judgments, who saw a soul, and a mother who saw a suit of clothes. I was a Christian who was blind, holding a child who was not. I felt it was God asking, "Are you willing to share your son for a moment?" when he shared his for all eternity. The ragged man unwittingly had reminded me of Matthew 18:3. I tell you the truth, unless you change and become like a little child, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven.
Amen.